Hey, welcome back to another Business Broker 101. Today I want to talk about prospectus. What is a prospectus? Well, it's a document or a package of materials that describes a business offering. And it's generally sent out after a prospect has submitted a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and a personal financial statement, which indicates their financial capacity to purchase the business. So what makes a good prospectus? Well, the first thing to keep in mind is the audience. So the buyer is the audience, and you want to make it easy on the buyer to find information and to find the right information. And if you do a good job with prospectus, it will answer 80 to 85% of a buyer's questions. Okay, so keep the buyer in mind as you think through what goes into a good prospectus. I like to start out with an executive summary, which is a recap of the sale, the selling price, the offer, the assets that are included, the facility, what's the square footage of the facility, what's the lease payment, what's the price of the facility, what's the ownership, who owns the business, who owns the real estate, the company, is it an S Corp, is it an LLC? So a general recap on one page. And the reason I do that is many times the buyers will want to share this information with their attorney or their CPA, and they have everything in one spot in order to be able to create a letter of intent or a purchase offer. Again, trying to facilitate the buyer moving into the next step. They'll also have other partners that they want to share the information with, and this is a good one-page document, the executive summary, that recaps the business offering. I'll also spend a minute or two or a page or two on the industry, the category. Is it meat processing? Is it a telecommunications business, restaurant, automotive dealership? This tells the buyer about the industry, if they're not familiar with it. What are the average profit margins? What are the growth trends? How many businesses of this category are out there, etc.? What are some of the key trends? What are some of the key success factors in operating a business in this category? I'll then move into the market, the specific trading area that the business is located in. I'll look at the demographics. I'll look at the growth patterns, the population. I'll look at the competitive density. I'll look at the business distance to its nearest competitors. So I'll try to zero in on the immediate market area that the business will compete in. Of course, I'll include financial data, income statements, typically a trend of income statements, preferably from the tax returns. Banks like to see tax returns, and so typically a buyer will show this prospectus to their lender. And if you've got the tax information in the prospectus, it just saves you a step. Balance sheets, always good to include. Any performance data, market share data, working capital data, any of that kind of stuff is really good to include in a prospectus. I'll also spend a fair amount of time on the team. And I'll put an org chart in the team, an organizational chart. It shows the kind of reporting structure. And I'll also highlight the key management that will remain with the business so that a buyer gets a feel for what human resources are available in the operation and where they may need to supplement or complement, depending on the case. Talk about the facility and the real estate, where it's located. How big is the facility? What are the either purchase price on the real estate or the lease terms that the buyer is offering, or the seller is offering, I should say. Pictures are important. Pictures, paint a picture of the business. Tell a great story about the business. So include pictures, outside pictures, inside pictures. Surveys are great, overhead surveys that show the size and the shape of the facility, the parking that's available in the business. All those things are great. Growth options. I spend a fair amount of time on a section called growth opportunities. And in this section, I want to demonstrate to the buyer that not only is the business well performing now, but there are certain things that they could implement that would take the business to a new level. And I work with the seller to identify what those are and highlight those. Again, thinking about the way a business or a buyer will look at this business. I'll also include a financing offer. So I pre-qualify almost all of my businesses with a bank. I'll have the bank put together a draft term sheet that gives the buyer confidence that this business is a business that the bank will loan on, and I'll include that in the marketing prospectus. Okay, and then the last thing I like to do is, and this varies by business, but what is the unique selling proposition of the business? It could be some information on the customer data. It could be an employee handbook that is particularly well done, that shows the operating practices of the businesses. It could be, there may be a customer acquisition process that's well defined. So anything that really indicates to the buyer that this business is ready to take over, the processes are institutionalized, there's discipline in the business, and it's an easy acquisition. Okay, so lots to cover. No two prospectuses are exactly alike, depending on the category. But if you include those in your offering, I think you'll make a good impression on a potential buyer. All right, Business Broker 101, what goes into a prospectus? Thanks for joining. Take care.